Welcome back to another incredible deep dive into the world of talent, wonder, and those rare moments that remind us why shows like America's Got Talent hold a special place in the hearts of millions. Today, we're bringing you the unbelievable story of two extraordinary kids who stepped onto the AGT stage with innocence in their smiles, strength in their hearts, and music flowing through their veins. They are Elias and Zion, 9-year-old twins whose piano performance didn't just amaze the judges. It didn't just shock the audience. It created a moment that will be talked about for years by anyone who witnessed it live or through the millions of screens where this magical audition continues to spread like wildfire. Before we jump into the performance that left everyone breathless, make sure you're settled in, because what you're about to experience isn't just a performance breakdown. It's a journey into the bond between two brothers who are connected by blood, music, and a sense of unity rare for performers so young. Get ready, because this is one of those stories that touches every emotion, every expectation, and every idea you thought you had about talent at such a young age. The moment the twins walked onto the stage, the atmosphere shifted. There's something about seeing young performers step into the spotlight. It's a mix of excitement, nervousness, and the curiosity of everyone watching as they wonder what these tiny musicians could possibly bring. But with Elias and Zion, even before a single note was played, there was an energy around them. You could sense they were not just participants. They were about to create an unforgettable memory. As the camera panned closer, the crowd could see their identical features, their matching smiles, and the way they held themselves with a mix of innocence and quiet confidence. Even the judges leaned forward slightly, intrigued. Simon glanced at the piano. Sophia beamed at the boys. Heidi offered a warm smile. Howie looked expectantly. There was anticipation. There was excitement. And the air felt heavy with the unknown. Then came the moment of introduction. They spoke in gentle voices, soft yet full of personality, explaining that their passion was playing the piano together, and that they had been practicing since they were very small. The audience reacted instantly with adoration. It wasn't just charm. It was the sincerity and purity in the way they explained their love for the instrument. When the music began, something extraordinary happened. The first few notes were delicate, almost whispering into the room. Zion took the lead on the right side of the piano, letting his fingers glide effortlessly across the keys. Elias followed with a harmony so rich and unexpected that even those unfamiliar with classical techniques could feel the intricacy of what they were doing. These were not ordinary beginner-level notes. These were layered, complex progressions that required both technical skill and emotional intuition. And the fact that they were only 9 made the entire auditorium fall silent instantly. The judges' expressions were priceless. Simon's eyebrows lifted. Howie leaned forward, seeming shocked by the strength of the opening. Heidi placed her hand on her chest, moved by the unexpected brilliance. Sophia's eyes widened in amazement. Even the backstage crew, usually busy and focused on logistics, paused to watch these tiny prodigies. But what made the performance especially breathtaking was not just the technical skill. It was the connection between the brothers. They weren't reading sheet music. They weren't glancing at each other for cues. They were breathing in perfect synchrony. Their timing wasn't just practiced. It was instinctual. It was as if the piano was an extension of their very souls, and every note they played flowed naturally. Halfway through the performance, the composition shifted. The tempo increased. The audience gasped as the boys' hands moved faster, dancing across the piano with a confidence even adult professionals sometimes struggle to maintain. The way their fingers moved so quickly and cleanly was mesmerizing. They executed runs, trills, and transitions that felt almost superhuman for their age. You could sense the years of dedication, the countless hours of practice, and the deep bond built through shared passion. Just when it seemed like the performance couldn't get any more impressive, the twins surprised everyone again. They switched hands mid-performance. Elias reached over with his right hand to take over part of Zion's melody. Zion shifted seamlessly into Elias's harmony. It was like watching musical telepathy. The audience erupted into spontaneous applause, impressed beyond measure at their coordination. The camera showed the judges again. Simon was smiling, which is rare in the middle of a performance unless he's genuinely blown away. Sophia whispered something under her breath, clearly in disbelief. Heidi looked like she was witnessing a miracle. Howie mouthed the word wow. Even Terry Crews backstage had his mouth open in shock as he watched the monitors. Then came the climax of the performance. A powerful crescendo built steadily, rising with energy and emotion. The boys lifted the entire room, not just with loudness or speed but with emotion, passion, and precision. Every note felt intentional. Every movement felt like it belonged to something far greater than two 9-year-olds playing a talent show audition. And then, just as magnificently as it had risen, the music softened once more. The final note hung in the air, delicate and beautiful. The boys froze in perfect unison, fingers lifting from the keys at the exact same moment, like two halves of the same heart finishing a single beat. Silence filled the room for a split second, the kind of silence that only follows a performance so breathtaking that the audience needs a moment to process what they've just witnessed. Then the auditorium erupted. Cheers, applause, standing ovations. The entire audience stood up as if pulled by an invisible force. People were cheering, clapping, shouting, and some were even crying. The twins looked shocked, smiling shyly, overwhelmed by the reaction. Simon clapped slowly before rising to his feet. That alone told the world everything. Simon Cowell is not easily impressed, and he certainly doesn't stand unless something is extraordinary. For him to rise for two 9-year-old pianists said everything about their talent. The boys looked at each other and laughed nervously as tears welled in their eyes. It was a moment of pure joy and achievement, one that will likely remain one of the greatest memories of their lives. Then came the judges' reactions. Howie spoke first. He praised their discipline, their unity, and their ability to transform a classical performance into something modern, fresh, and emotionally powerful. He told them that they had something special, something that transcended age. Heidi followed by telling them how beautiful their connection was. Not just their musical connection, but their emotional one. She mentioned how proud she was to witness the beginning of what she believed could be a lifelong musical career. Sophia added that watching them was magical, and that they brought something pure to the stage that touched everybody in the room. Finally, Simon leaned into the microphone. The room fell quiet. He told them that they weren't just talented. They were gifted in a way very few people are. He said that what they created on stage wasn't just a performance. It was art. And then he told them that they reminded him of what real talent looks like. The boys' faces lit up as they listened. Simon ended his feedback with something simple but powerful. He said, "You two were born to do this." With 4 yeses, the twins moved forward in the competition, but their audition alone became an iconic AGT moment that spread across social media, climbed into trending categories, and captivated millions of viewers around the world. Their story became an inspiration. Kids, adults, musicians, and families everywhere watched these two brothers perform and felt something stir inside them, a feeling that anything is possible if you nurture your passion and believe in your gift. But what makes their journey even more incredible is everything behind the scenes. From practicing on a small piano at home, to staying up late learning difficult pieces together, to encouraging each other, correcting each other, and growing together, their bond is unbreakable. These kids aren't just performers. They are creators. They are dreamers. They are proof that age doesn't limit greatness. Their ability to channel emotion through music is rare, and their unity is something that can't be taught. It's something that exists naturally between them. The world of AGT has seen singers, dancers, magicians, and musicians of all types. But every few seasons, a rare moment comes along that feels genuinely unforgettable. Elias and Zion created one of those moments. They walked onto the stage as two shy boys with hopes in their hearts, and walked off as rising stars with an entire world cheering for them. And their journey has only begun. As they move forward, one can only imagine the music they will continue to create. The harmonies they will explore. The techniques they will master. And the performances that will come later, each one growing more emotional and powerful. But no matter what comes next for them, their audition will forever remain a shining example of pure, unfiltered talent. A performance that reminds us all why we love watching dreamers step onto a stage and show the world what they're capable of. So if you ever find yourself doubting whether the world still holds magic, go back to this audition. Listen to their music. Watch their hands glide across the keys. Watch their smiles light up the room. Watch the judges react, the audience erupt, and feel the power of what passion can do when it's nurtured with love and dedication. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most incredible piano performances ever seen on America's Got Talent. If you enjoyed this breakdown and love witnessing inspiring stories, stay with us, because there are many